is happening, fellow fantasy GMs? I am JJ Wang. He is the bearded one, DJ Dub. And with our powers combined, we are the Fantasy Couriers.
JJ Wang, week 6 is upon us. This world of football is going bonkers, dude.
Yeah, I mean, weeks like this is why I'm not a Cowboy fan anymore. Because if they would have lost like that, say 5, 6 years ago, my whole week would be ruined. I'd hate everybody. But now, you know what? I'm actually a 49ers fan, and I'm rooting for the 49ers to do as well as possible. And I hate the Cowboys right now.
Yeah, it's an interesting week. It seems like some of the world is turned upside down in the world of fantasy. So today, apologies to the listeners. I posted the wrong thing on the Facebook page. So our listener questions are at 0. If you got something, pop us in. I got a guy who hits me up with questions every week. Don't follow any of my rankings. I did terrible this week. To say terrible would be good. I wish I was terrible this week. It was bad. So I'm not even going to look it up or refer to it at all, but I was number 1 2 weeks ago, so I'll bask in the glory of that.
Yeah, you
That's
just gotta keep one of those things where you just gotta keep plugging, man. You win some,
uh
you lose some.
I got clobbered. Anthony Richardson I had fairly high, and who else went up? It was terrible, but I'm getting ahead of myself here. So this week we're gonna look at the to get into week 6. It's starting to get brutal. There is a bloodbath going on with injuries. Some teams that got to certain levels might have to zag here. So I'm gonna throw some injuries out here. We'll see what we think, and we'll see what can an owner do? So maybe even think about like guys that like look at their backups. Are they worth trying to trade for or stash, or should you totally zag? So the biggest injury of the week, 4 weeks. Justin Jefferson with a hammy. He is on the IR, officially placed on the IR. As we always told you, we record this on a wonky time. It's Wednesday. They had just put him on IR prior to us recording. So no JJ for 4 weeks. That's number 1, number 2 pick in most drafts.
Yeah, I mean it hurts, but luckily it's only 4 weeks. Man, but it is a hammy. These kind of things may linger. I mean, he comes back, and what if he's just not the same Justin Jefferson, or he re-injures it again? Yeah, definitely worried about Justin Jefferson. But what are you going to? I mean, you can't replace Justin Jefferson. I mean, that's not really what you're going to do at this point. So I mean, you just got to hope that your backups are good enough to get you through these 4 weeks.
Are you running to pick up KJ Osborne?
I mean, sure. I mean, if you got an IR spot on your bench, I mean, KJ Osborne is probably one of the only wide receivers out there that's going to give you any kind of production on the waiver wire. Most all the other ones, if not, they're already picked up. So yeah, I mean, you can slide him on there and pick him up and give it a shot. Absolutely. But I
Yeah,
mean, you're not going to be the only one going after KJ Osborne. That's the thing. Everybody else will be too.
that's good. I already have KJ Osborne in lots of places, so I'm good there. Who benefits? So on the flip side, on the Vikings, I mean, the interesting side note is I've seen stories pop up that Kirk Cousins might be traded. That just sounds crazy. Who would pay that much? But anyway, which player on that team or players do you think are going to benefit from no Justin Jefferson, or is that possible?
I don't think anybody benefits here. Kirk Cousins doesn't benefit because I mean
No.
he's losing Justice Jefferson. Um, Addison, he might benefit, gets more targets, but now he's getting that number one coverage most likely. So I mean, and then on the other side you've got KJ Osborne. Ain't no team really scared of KJ Osborne. KJ Osborne has never really done much, so he gets more opportunity. So I mean, maybe KJ Osborne's a winner, maybe Jordan Addison, but I think everybody's kind of a loser here.
That I was thinking this earlier. I was like, is maybe Hawkinson's a winner? He's already great. Does he get that role of go-to receiver on the team? So I give him 3 or 4 more targets a week. Like he's my number 1 tight end this week. I got Hawkinson as my tight end 1.
I mean, yeah, it's totally possible, but you also got to think if we know that, so does every team in the NFL. And if they're really not worried about those
Four
outside
guys.
guys, I mean, I'm sure they can kind of zero in on Hawkinson. But yeah, I didn't think about Hawkinson, but yeah, Hawkinson's probably the biggest winner here because he'll definitely see a few more targets.
I was thinking Hawkinson or the running game. They might
The running game
pivot.
sucks anyway. This isn't
Madison's
going
been
to.
playing much better. So
Yeah, this
Madison's in
isn't
there.
really.
Akers, if they get 2 backs, maybe Akers steps it up and they pick up like get a they
I
start
mean,
pounding it more and
if you
then
take out
gunning
the
it.
best receiver in the game, teams are going to worry less about your passing and be able to focus a little more on the run. And like you said, maybe who knows? I'm not
They're
excited
one
about
and four.
anybody.
They've pretty much thrown in the
Yeah, I'm
towel.
not excited about any of them.
Worst news of the week, most devastating news of the week, Devon Achan. Knee,
Yeah,
4 weeks.
like this is kind of what we were. I don't want to say what we were worried about, but I mean,
Smaller
he's
guy.
played 3 NFL games and he's already. I mean, he's already hurt. Yeah, he's super
Twice.
fast, but you also got to look at you're putting a lot more pressure on your body in the NFL than you ever were in college. You've got to be that much faster. You've got to be that much stronger. So there's a lot more pressure on your body, and the guys are bigger in the NFL. I know, granted, he takes most of his rushes to the
To the side.
house, so it doesn't really nobody gets a lot of touches. But the guys are bigger in the NFL when they fall on you. I mean, it's just a different game, and here, like you said, 5 games in, he's already been hurt twice.
Yeah, well, I'm hearing. I think he's part of the. I saw some just quick blurbs. The players are starting to get frustrated with some of this turf stuff. That it could be one of the turf monster injuries like him, and then we'll talk about Kelsey later or something related. That they're trying to
Yeah,
get
I mean
everybody to go grass and
they've been complaining about the turf for years,
since
man.
AstroTurf. Like now they at
Yeah, I
least
mean
roll that fake good turf stuff. So yeah, it's does that elevates Mostert, doesn't it?
yeah, because the whole reason nobody wanted Mostert anymore was because Achan, and now Achan is gone. The work just goes right back to Mostert. You know, then
Speculative Jeff Wilson.
I mean, if he's there, I mean, he's ready to go. If he'll definitely get carried. That's been proven. But it's only going to be if it be for a game or two because he's probably going to get hurt again. 'Cause that's just what he just seems to always do. But yeah, Mostert's right back at the top of the food chain.
Okay, another running back, James Conner. We talked about this Sunday. IR official 4 weeks. DeMarco's been the hot commodity to grab on waivers. Did you get any?
I wasn't able to get any. I mean, I got him once. I did get him in one spot. So yeah, I mean, that running back, eh, it's the fresh. He's going to get carries. I mean, he performed well enough to earn the shot on Sunday. There's not anybody else really there, so he's pretty much all they got. So yeah, I mean, throw him in there. We'll see what happens. Kind of excited. It could be another one of those undrafted
Like
players that hits
Lindsey kind
big
of
or
Philip Lindsey?
late round guys that'll help you out for a year or two.
The Bears backfield is in shambles. Khalil Herbert officially 4 weeks on IR with the ankle. Roshan right now is in concussion protocol, but what they've noticed this year, I heard some people saying, is this year they seem to be a little more cautious that concussion is pretty much costing you a week. So Deonta Foreman, what
I mean,
again?
who would have thought? I mean, here we are. He just keeps popping up. So, but yeah, I mean, if neither one of those guys, well, obviously Herbert's not gonna play. If Roshan's not there, I mean, you've got to pick him up and maybe think about giving him a shot here. If he's the only one, they're going to run the ball. So yeah, you got it's crazy, but it might be a flex spot at this point.
Officially, Richardson, Anthony Richardson, rookie quarterback, out 4 to 8 weeks. Superflex Gardner. Do you add Gardner?
Well, absolutely. I mean, he's performed well when he's
He's
always
already on
come
the
in.
team though, probably by now.
Oh yeah, most likely. Maybe if you're like in like one
Superflex only.
quarterback.
Superflex. One
Yeah.
QB,
Oh, so
no.
super
But
like something.
yeah.
Well, I mean, maybe it's possible, but some people might have dropped him because Richardson came back.
Well,
So who but Minshew's never really been like that long term replacement, but he's pretty good on the short term. I mean, once the teams kind of figure him out, but yeah, right. I mean, definitely picking him up. I'd rather start him than say Gardner Minshew or what Desmond Ritter. Who would you start there
doesn't matter.
after one? I mean, one good
I
game.
gotta
Great.
go with what I got. I gotta go with I'm gonna ride the hot hand. He realized last week I throw the ball 11 times to the best player. Eventually he's gonna catch it, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we hope,
It'd be
but I
close. It'd be
mean,
close, but I think I would still play Ritter for the legs at least. Because I think JT's gonna get some more carry. I mean, they could run the snot out of the ball with Moss playing well. JT playing, play is JT. They paid him $11 million a year to play football.
but
They're gonna give him the ball. He's not getting the ball 3 times.
Minshew can't sling it though. I mean,
He can. Oh, he can. But
he's
I
been. I mean,
wonder if
I
they're
don't
going
think
to.
I mean, Minshew's been known this. Why not throw it if you
I
can?
love Minshew. I'm a Minshew fan, but
The reason you run the ball so much is because you can't throw. So I mean, if you're able to throw, I mean, I'm sure you're going in today's NFL, you're going to sling it all over the place.
yeah, so that'll be intriguing. So the last three guys we have, are there more monitors? There's nothing official yet as of a recording. This could change. We got our my boy Tank Dell, half the size of me, concussion monitor, probably a week off. You got Danny Dimes, who has the neck injury. Not a lot really coming out of it, but the most recent article I saw earlier today was that highly unlikely he plays this week. And Travis Kelce, for you Thursday night gamers, this will be over for our Friday listeners. It ends up being a low ankle sprain from some of the stories I read, not a high ankle, but he's still monitor. He's saying that he hurt himself because he's old AF, but that's why he hurt himself.
What did you hear? What him and Aaron Rodgers going back and forth?
Yeah.
That was fun. Aaron Rodgers called him Mr. Pfizer on the Pat McAfee show. It was hilarious. It was kind of funny.
I heard a good joke I got from the footballers were saying that Kelsey went to the locker room at halftime. Taylor Swift called him up and said to shake it off, and he came back into the game and scored a touchdown. So
Yeah, it's
that's
kind
what
of
you
what it
get,
was.
dad jokes. Dell Jones, Kelsey, level of concern with any of those. I mean, Daniel Jones, we're not really playing unless you're desperate super. I'm not even playing on my super flex team, but Tank Dell's starting to get some tread as a wide receiver 3 or a flex, and Kelsey, well, he's Kelsey. What's your level of concern with those guys?
I mean, I'm not really concerned, but I mean, I'm maybe a little concerned with Kelsey. I mean, he's not the Kelsey that we were expecting going into the season. Now, granted, he missed the first game. Now, the Chiefs hasn't been what Mahomes what hasn't been what we thought he was going to be. I
Mhm.
think the lack of receiving help or lack of receivers is really hurting because they just don't have that guy to take the pressure off of anybody. So, I mean, honestly, I am a little concerned about Kelsey. He was already not playing where we would expecting him, and then an ankle sprain surely can't help that matter much. But I mean, maybe a little concerned with Kelsey.
Imagine if T. Higgins was, they talk about trade him to the Chiefs. Oh,
Trade
anyway,
Jerry. They talk about trading Jerry Judy to the Chiefs too.
that would never happen because of who they are.
Hey, you never know. Broncos are desperate, man.
Sorry, too quick on you. Game by game preview. I pushed play while you were talking there about the Broncos. Just as before we get into the games here, what do you think the likely Broncos are basically? They're talking about in the news about them trading everybody. Who do you think realistically could? You think Judy? Who do you think
Jerry
Judy's a good
Judy. I
fit?
mean, they're probably not going to pay him the contract, the money. I mean, so why not? I mean, I guess they could, but if you're going to reset, I mean, I think Jerry Judy's probably the first one. I think Jerry Judy be the first one to go.
What do you think they could net for him? A second rounder, maybe a third?
I have no idea when it comes to that because some of the amount some of these guys go for is
Weird.
absolutely and it's weird. But so he came in as a first rounder. I mean, it's got to I would say like a third you might get back for him. It sounds crazy, but I mean he hasn't produced all that much. I mean, it's been a little bit of a disappointment, but that whole Broncos team has been literally a disappointment since he's been in the league. So.
Someone's got to sweep in cheap and get Javante before he's healthy because his contract's coming up as well. And then they'll let McLaughlin go bonkers. That would be awesome. I got a bunch of McLaughlin chairs. That would be spectacular. So we're gonna go through the week. We'll do some quick hits as we go through the week that is a coming. Luckily, we've only we're getting close to only like 2 more weeks overseas. I hope. Oh, this is terrible stuff. But we have the Thursday night game real quick. Broncos at the Chiefs. Which I don't even know receivers in this game. Are there any receivers in this game that you would want to play and go into the week with the chance of them totally pooing the bed?
No,
No.
I mean, none of these receivers have. Marvin Mims performs every now and then when he catches a bomb, but you don't want to rely. You don't want to go with that on a Thursday. You don't want to start your week off with that. I mean, there was not really a receiver. Kansas City receiver, I scores a touchdown every now and then. Scott Moore, I don't even think he is
Played.
playing. So Cortland Sutton, I don't know what he's. I don't think he's done anything all year.
He had like one good game, 1, 2 good games.
Yeah,
Nothing
so
great.
I mean, I wouldn't want to start any wide receiver. I don't think anybody's starting.
What are the chances Russell Wilson outscores Patrick Mahomes because he has to?
I think it's possible. I mean, the way that Chiefs Mahomes is playing now, I think the Chiefs are going to have to throw a lot. I mean, oh, not the Chiefs, but the Broncos.
Broncos,
I
you
mean,
mean?
it's possible.
Okay, that's Thursday night. It'll be over till most of you hear us. So we go to Sunday morning, Ravens at the Titans. I feel like I'm not prepared because I'm trying to figure out where this game is. Is this a Germany game?
I have no idea.
I'm pulling it up. I'm trying to see where it's at because I'm uh nothing here. Toten
It's it,
Hotspur Stadium, Tottenham
it's in
Hotspur
the
Stadium.
morning, so we know it's overseas. That's all that really matters.
Yeah, so I believe this is the one over there. But yeah, so we got another game overseas. It's probably going to be something extreme. Oh, it's in England. It's an England game. In London. It's the stadium of yeah, the
It doesn't really matter, dude.
Premier League Tottenham Hotspur. Yeah, there. But yeah, so it's a Sunday morning game, and the Ravens have looked like poo. The Titans have looked like poo. Do you want to get up early to see any of these guys play, or are they going to get jet lagged, and this is just going to ruin your Lamar, ruin your Derrick Henry, ruin your Mark Andrews, and get nothing out of this game? Or do you think something's going to surprise? Who could pop
I
for
mean,
us?
I think Derrick Henry has a good game. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I'm still rolling him out there. Uh, the Ravens offense is struggling. You probably get nothing out of the run game. The passing game is sketchy at best. You're going overseas, imagine it can't be helping that. I'm not really excited, but I mean, it is football. I mean, I'll still get up and watch it, but it's just one of those games where I just don't think there's a lot of fantasy value here. I don't see D Hop going off for another 140 yards, but I think Derrick Henry is probably the safest bet.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I would roll some Derrick Henry. Mark Andrews is always a safe bet. Otherwise, good luck. I mean, heck, the defenses might be what gets us here. They might be what gets us with another, like the Steelers game last week for the Ravens could be pretty terrible. Let's get into what we want to see, the games that could be interesting. I think this could be a decent game is your Commanders versus the Atlanta Falcons. Young quarterbacks playing there, young receivers playing there, young running. I mean, who would have thought we would say the Commanders Falcons is a decent fantasy game for the week. And
as far as the Commanders go, I mean, they've kind of really, other than Hal, have really disappointed, right?
Brian
McLaren
Robinson's come down some, but he
McLaren
started off
hasn't
strong.
been McLaren hasn't been good at all. Dotson, he's been okay. I mean, McLaurin, my bad.
Clarence better, yeah.
I mean,
McLaurin.
Dotson has been pretty much non-existent. Gibson here and there if he catches the ball. Robinson started off strong, starting to fade. Logan Thomas, when he plays, has been surprisingly good too. But yeah, I think Sam Howell is probably the only one that you're really happy with out of this whole Commanders offense. I mean, you're probably happy with Brian Robinson, but he's just a I mean, he might get you 8 points, and that's all it's getting.
He's like any of those pounder running backs. You want
Yeah,
to know where I have Sam Howell this week?
QB8.
Yeah, 11.
Oh yeah, see, top 12, man.
Yeah, top 12. I had him last week, top 12 somehow, and I still did terrible. Uh, so you're looking there, Bijan. You got Bijan, Brian Robinson, Drake. So if you had to if you have the wide receivers, Drake London or Terry McLaurin, who you rolling out with?
Honestly, I'd probably go Drake London because I think there's more of a yeah, yeah, I guess probably Drake London just because I don't know. That's a terrible. I mean, you're going to start both of them, but
I have a team where I've actually been setting Drake London. That's how good my
I've been
receivers
setting
are.
Drake London a couple of times too. But I mean, if I had McLaurin and he was in the same spot, I'd probably bench him McLaurin. I mean, I'm not really all
Yeah.
that confident in him.
Who you
Confident in him
starting?
either.
Johnny Smith or Kyle Pitts?
Oh my God, we still doing this?
Uh,
I'm never
Is
starting
Kyle Pitts
Johnny.
jumping up, right?
Yeah, I'm not starting Johnny Smith. I'm
He
not.
got 11
Not
targets.
doing
That's got me wondering, but they're saying this could be a two tight end, that old school Belichick kind of ball that they're going to play where both will play and both should. I mean, Smith will get his 6 or 7 targets. He'll get 11, and that's who they're going to throw to because he can't throw that far. The terrible Vikings at the terrible Bears. Could the Bears be 2-4 and roll the Vikings this week?
I mean, they could. I mean, without Justin Jefferson, it just opens up your I know the Bears' defense isn't all that good, so maybe it might look a little better without Jefferson on the other side. So, I mean, yeah, the Vikings aren't good. I mean, this is probably a pretty close game. I mean, they both stink, so it might be kind of competitive.
Alexander Madison or Deonta Foreman?
I'd probably go Donta Foreman.
Wow, I gotta start Madison.
I mean, probably you would probably start Madison, but I'm just not impressed with Madison. I'm sorry.
Does DJ Moore go off for 20 points this week?
Yeah, lock it in. 20 points.
Lock it in, DJ Moore, 20 points. What could any Vikings receiver score more points than DJ Moore?
I
KJ?
mean, I mean, sure they could. I mean, Addison could. I mean, Addison can come down with 2 touchdowns and Moore only get 1 touchdown. But I mean, Kirk Cousins still likes to throw the ball. But I would rank DJ Moore ahead of Jordan Addison.
I think Hawkinson's the best receiver in that game, so we'll see. Uh, Seahawks at the Bungles. The Bungles are starting to less bungle it up. The Seahawks are 3-1. I just traded for Ken Walker, forgetting he was on bye week last week. You're welcome. Traded away some. I was like, I need a running back bad. I had to give away Waddle. It hurt really bad, but the team had too many receivers. So we're looking here at a Joe Mixon, Ken Walker kind of comparison. They both are sort of the same kind of like blah. They're doing just enough to keep fantasy owners happy. Which one are you more confident with? Mixon at home or Ken Walker on the road?
I'm I'll go Ken Walker. I mean, I think the offense is playing. I don't know if it's really playing any better, but I think the offense still runs through the grounds majority of the time. And I think Burrow still wants to throw it all over the place. So I'll go Kenny Walker here.
T. Higgins, I haven't seen updates on if he plays or not. But if you had T. Higgins on your team, would you rather play him or anybody from the Seahawks?
Oh, I would play. I would
Metcalf
play
over Higgins?
Metcalf over Hick. I would play Metcalf over Higgins because Higgins. I don't. I mean, he hasn't really done it. I mean, I think one good
Get hurt.
game maybe, and plus he's hurt. So I would definitely play Metcalf. Metcalf's that having a pretty decent season so far. And you even probably have to consider Lockett just because of what Lockett can do.
Yeah.
So
JSN
I
could do anything
start
this
both
year.
of them. No, I mean, he might have a game here and there, but I mean, if he's the third guy, I mean, it's tough.
Anybody feel sorry for the Browns? They have a great defense, a pretty good defense, and here comes the 49ers. It's good. So, does Elijah Mitchell score more points than Deshaun Watson this week?
Elijah Mitchell. I mean, if he, I mean, a lot. I mean, yeah. I mean, probably because he's not playing. I mean, yeah, Watson might not even play, so
Oh,
that
really?
even hurt.
Okay. I was going if he plays.
Yeah. So I mean, I know that Mitchell was on the bench last week, but he was out. So if Watson plays, of course not. But I mean, Watson might not even play.
I'm looking that up as you're seeing, see if there's any updates on him, but it is blah 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 blah. Blah. Yeah, it looks like there's a possibility they might hold him just because I think big picture because they paid him to see what goes on. But if Watson doesn't play, imagine how bad this could be. Elijah Mitchell could score more than most guys, everybody on the Browns combined, because he'll play the second half because McCaffrey have so many points.
Yeah, I
Ridiculous.
mean, just maybe the Browns defense can hold them back enough to make it somewhat competitive, or all the starters have to stay in. That's really what we want. We don't want another blowout, but yeah, it could get ugly quick.
You know, McCaffrey did just enough to not be great last week, and I needed that. And then I have our team in my dynasty league is that the highest points in the league, and I'm 2-3. How does that happen? Like it's
That's that's,
ridiculous.
that's fantasy, man.
That's so is. So Saints versus the Texans. Texans are playing pretty well. CJ Stroud's up there. He's going to have Nico Collins. Nico Collins was bad last week, so he should be good this week. Then you got Kamara, who gets like 42,000 targets a week. And then you got Derek Carr, who plays apparently through an AC joint sprain. Who would you feel more confident with? Derek Carr playing with all those weapons that he has, or CJ Stroud, who's down to Nico and maybe Dalton Schultz?
I probably go CJ Stroud. I think the ceiling's a little higher there. Carr seems to not be throwing the ball deep at all. Olave has been pretty much non-existent. Michael Thomas has a catch here and there. No tight ends. So I'm still a little more confident in CJ Stroud at the moment.
Did Olave lay a goose egg on Sunday?
I
I
think he had a
believe so.
catch.
Um, so that yeah, that game would be interesting. I mean, after what the Saints just did to the Saints put up 34 on the Patriots. That's just downright ridiculous. So the Patriots are that bad, I guess. Colts versus the Jaguars, a battle of 3-2 teams. Did the Jags turn the corner in England by beating the Bills, or were they just there longer than the Bills?
I think they're just the Jags. They look good one week and then they can look completely crappy the next and look pretty good the next, and then look the next. I mean, honestly, I don't know what Jacksonville you're going to get, so it's like that's a crapshoot.
You starting Zach Moss or Jonathan Taylor? You know, most teams have them both.
Yeah, I mean, gotta. I mean, you got
It's
Jonathan
terrible.
Taylor. You're going to start him, right? He's playing. You don't want to be the guy that misses, his carries. So probably going to start Jonathan Taylor.
Oh,
But
that's great.
most people probably don't have both of them. I would say.
You might have picked if the start of the year came. I mean, I was a dope and I picked up Deion Jackson, who's not playing football anymore, and skipped out on Zach Moss because he was hurt. And but yeah, I have a team where I have both guys usually as my backup to cover. So would you feel do you start ETN or any of the Colts backfield?
Do you start ETN?
No, if say your team somehow you ended up with extra players and you only play two running backs. You have ETN, some other guy you got to play, or the Colts backfield, whichever guy you have. So let's say Jonathan Taylor.
Oh,
Bless you.
so am I starting ETN either or Jonathan Taylor or Zach
Or
Moss?
Jonathan Taylor,
I mean, I would. I mean, if I got Jonathan Taylor, I'm starting Jonathan Taylor. If I
regardless.
got, yeah, I mean, that's the way I would go.
Highest scoring wide receiver in this game.
Probably maybe Christian Kirk.
Ooh, I was curious if Pittman would show up with the Gardner Minshew sling. Okay, going to another game that's probably going to be about as terrible as the 49ers game. The Dolphins at 4-1 are taking on the Carolina Panthers in Miami. Ooh, Adam Thielen, is he going to be a wide receiver three again because of garbage time? So is he a guy you sneak in there thinking they're just going to get pummeled by the Dolphins, or are you still so scared you're not going to touch him with a 10-foot pole?
I would think if you're starting Adam Thielen, you're going to continue starting him. I mean, if he's sitting on your bench, I mean, you're probably considering it. So, I mean, if he's better than I don't like I said, if he's better than what you got on there, I mean, sure. I mean, there's just as much chance of him doing 107 yards and a touchdown again this week as there was last week. So.
I don't even like. I mean, Dolphins, you start everybody that you play on there normally, and you get a little more hype from Mostert. But the Panthers is there in is there anybody you're comfortable starting on that team? There's not, is there?
Not really. I mean, like I said, Adam Thielen's probably the safest, and beyond that, Miles Sanders probably not Miles. Yeah, Miles Sanders probably isn't going to play. Chuba Hubbard, I think. Does Chuba Hubbard still play on the
Chuba
Panthers?
Hubbard's getting more totes each week, so I've been monitoring him because Miles has been so terrible. But the Panthers, I mean, they're 0-5.
Mhm.
Bryce Young looked better last week, but they're I don't know, man. Poor Frank Reich. Poor
Yeah, I don't
Frank
feel
Reich. He
bad
thought he
for him.
could whisper.
I don't feel bad for him at all.
I do. He's a good dude. Okay, the terrible Patriots at the terrible Raiders. Mac Jones or Jimmy Garoppolo, you know it's coming.
Well, probably Jimmy Garoppolo just because he's better than Mac Jones. I'll have to say Jimmy
Wait, wait,
Garoppolo's
wait. What'd you just say?
not he's not the worst quarterback in the NFL. He's the 31st worst quarterback in the NFL.
You even Baker even jumped those guys. That makes me
Yeah.
proud. Is there Ramondre? Where do you have him as far as
I'm not even starting Ramon. If I can get away with not starting Ramondre Stevenson in any way, at this point, I'm starting Jalen Warren over Ramondre Stevenson.
you're that? Wow, even against I mean the Raiders have their defense has played really well
It doesn't
recently.
matter.
So
Who cares? They're terrible. I mean, they can't run the ball because they always got to come from behind, so they're constantly having to throw the ball, and he's not catching anything. He's getting 3 or 4 points a week. I mean, I'm like this is probably the first week I bench him and start whoever else I can find.
I've got him at 22nd right now, like right in front of Jaleel McLaughlin and Rashad White and Eddie Imari DeMarcado.
I would start all those guys over him easily.
Jerome Ford versus the
Yep,
49ers
yep,
versus Damian Pierce,
yep.
Miles Sanders,
Well, he's not going to play.
Deonta Foreman,
Yep,
Zach Moss,
yep.
Chuba Hubbard.
That one might be a little close.
Yeah, the one I gotta look. It looks like update as I'm looking at my rankings. Javante Williams is good to go for next week for this week. That's good
Well,
news. So
he
we
really
played on
wasn't that good
Thursday.
when he was in there, so we'll
Hear that
see.
late. Anyway, so let's go to that game's going to be garbage. Thank you. By the way, thank you, Devontae Adams, for doing absolutely nothing for me this week. Josh Jacobs. versus the Patriots used to be good defense. Any concern with him? I mean, you're rolling with him.
I'm
Any
not worried.
concern?
No, I'm not worried with Jacobs. I think Jacobs is going to actually probably be the highest fantasy player, highest scorer probably on the field come that game.
Jacoby Myers, the wide receiver one in Vegas.
I mentioned this a few weeks back. I did, but I mean it's close. I mean, from just the number standpoint, but maybe wide receiver too.
Okay. Wow, who would have thought this is the game of the week? No one would ever guess this one. We have the Lions at 4-1 versus the Buccaneers at 3-1. Baker or Goff? Who has a better week in this shootout?
Golf is a better quarterback.
Also, better quarterback. Okay, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Put those guys in order of how you think they do this week. Amon-Ra, we'll assume he's playing, but he will be, he's coming off an injury.
I'll go. I'll go Evans, Brown, and then Godwin.
Okay. You got the running backs. You got David Montgomery. He's top 5 running back this week?
Absolutely.
Let's see where to have him. You ready? He is number 4. How
Yeah.
gross. I got him at number 4.
Not gross at all. I love it.
Rashad White or Jahmyr Gibbs?
Uh, Jahmyr Gibbs.
I only put White ahead of him because he gets more touches, and they're mad at Gibbs apparently. Okay,
They're not mad at him. It's literally the exact same thing they did to DeAndre Swift. There's literally no different.
Draft cap. Man, these 4 o'clock games on Sunday, I might go for a run or something. They're terrible.
We need to roll. Let's roll through these, man.
Cardinals and Rams. Yuck. Puka, you're still rolling with, right?
Start both the wide receivers. You're probably still starting Kyron Williams, even though you're probably not happy with it, just because there's a chance.
Point, though.
There's a chance he scores 2 touchdowns. So, but yeah, I mean, you're probably still starting him. And you said the Cardinals.
Yeah, is Dobbs done, or is he?
I mean, he's not done. He's still a starting quarterback. But I mean, if you got somebody else on your team that could, yeah, I mean, I would start him over Dobbs. But it's just one bad game. I mean, who knows?
Eagles and Jets. Puke Skywalker again. Brees Hall against the Eagles defense. He should roll. Anybody else from the Jets you're starting?
Not really. I don't think so. I mean, I'm still starting. You're still starting Garrett Wilson, but like you said, you're not happy about it.
And you're starting all your Eagles, but should you temper expectations with a decent Jets defense?
I don't think so. I don't think the Jets defense might not be as vaunted as everybody thinks.
Giants going against in Buffalo for the Sunday night game after the Bills just lost to the Jaguars. Do you start anybody on the Giants saying, even if Saquon plays, you're going to start him, but anybody else, or do you just say run from this game because they're going to get rolled?
Well, you got to run from this game, but you probably if Waller's still there, I mean, you're probably still going to start Waller. There's just like because he's a tight end.
He was looking really good last week.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have more options, so you're definitely starting Waller. Then you're going to start. You're definitely going to start Barkley. I mean, but that's every week though. I mean, you're not starting anybody else any other weeks. It's just those 2 guys.
Gabe Davis, another touchdown this week?
Absolutely. I'm all in. Gabe Davis,
okay. Monday night game could be decent. We're looking at your favorite team, the Cowboys versus the Chargers. Are you worried about Eckler coming back versus a decent Cowboys defense that stepped back, or are the Cowboys, was that just smoking mirrors that we saw early in this season and they're not that great?
I think the Cowboys aren't that good. They had the easiest schedule in the league, and now the rest of the year coming up, it's the toughest schedule in the league. So it's not going to be nowhere near it was his first 3 or 4 games. And the one game that they lost an easy game to the Cardinals. So I don't think the Cowboys are nearly as good as what their first 4 games indicated.
2 deep dives. I was a Dak supporter, and he's sunk like a lead balloon.
He is absolutely god awful right now.
Out of 30 quarterbacks playing this week, where would you
27?
Put I got him at 23.
I would put him right ahead of Jimmy Garoppolo. I'd put Baker Mayfield over Dak Prescott.
I love Baker.
Trey
And
Lance, baby. Let's go.
Josh Palmer, do you think he's going to get role as a wide receiver 3 or flex player without Mike Williams with the bye week and him to come in, or is just Keenan going to get peppered with 32
I
targets?
mean, Keenan's probably still going to get peppered, and they'll throw the ball to Palmer, but it just depends on whether or not he catches it. I mean, Palmer's a huge, huge risk, and
Okay,
you know that going into it if you put Palmer in your lineup.
and to close it out here, the bye weeks are the Packers and the Steelers do so accordingly. No Love, no Dobbs, who pooped the bed, no Christian Watson, and no Steelers, who are just underperforming unless you got
Jordan
happy.
Love pooped the bed something bad.
That team just, I was like, what happened to Dobbs? Luckily, I didn't need him, but great googly moogly. And
I was
interesting
on
thing,
in the Bourbon Bowl. I was on the verge of trading for either Mac Jones or Jordan Love. Pretty glad I didn't.
yeah, it's interesting thing this year that I haven't seen in eons. Week 8 and week 12, there are no bye weeks in the middle of the season.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, that's all I got. Game by game preview. Good luck. Hit us up with questions you got. JJ Wayne, give us some wisdom. Let's get out of here. Maybe your wisdom won't be about something that's over when they listen to our podcast
Oh
this
yeah, I
week.
forgot about that. Yeah.
That's so funny. I love it though. It was
So
great wisdom.
yeah, so this one is waiver wire, waiver wire, waiver wire, right? I mean, because right now I'm sure everybody is struggling, but most importantly, spend your fab dollars. Stop saving it for the next guy. I mean, if there's a guy on, just use your money for him now because there might not be another guy. But you're not none of you can't keep any of this fab. You might as well spend it. Go big or go home, right? So as always, trust yourself and trust the process.